back, everyone, to the Corvids and Coffee podcast. I'm Liz, your host for today's special holiday episode of Very Merry Corvids Christmas. Today, we're diving into A Christmas Carol, how it's influenced our holiday traditions, some of my favorite adaptations like The Muppet Christmas Carol and Scrooged, and how this classic encourages us to give back to our communities. Plus, I'll share a few personal mental health moments, some festive rants, and a Reddit post that you need to hear. Grab your coffee or hot cocoa, and let's get started. All right, let's start with the big question. Why has A Christmas Carol stood the test of time? For me, it's because it's so deeply human. It's a story of redemption, self reflection, and the power of kindness. All things we can relate to, especially during the holidays. Charles Dickens really captured the idea that it's never too late to change, and I think that's why it's adapted so many times. From classic takes like the 1951 Scrooge to modern twists like Scrooge with Bill Murray. And don't even get me started on the Muppet Christmas Carol. Michael Caine is Scrooge, iconic. Add in the Muppets' humor and heart, and it's just chef's kiss. What's your favorite adaptation? Let me know in the comments or on social media. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, time for a quick festive rant. Online shopping. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Go do your holiday shopping on Amazon today. Actually, no. Fuck Jeff Bezos. He's got too much money already. But also, listen, it's 2 a.m. I'm in my pajamas and capitalism has me in a chokehold. So now I'm buying $300 worth of random shit I don't need because it's free shipping and my dignity is worth less than Prime Day deals. Honestly, who can relate? I know I'm not the only one. Speaking of online shopping disasters, let me read you something legendary. The infamous Amazon review of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. All right. So a little backstory to this and how I came across it is that I had a Yankee swap at work recently, got a bunch of amazing gifts. My coworkers and team, they absolutely know that we're all a bunch of nerds, so we all got stuff that we liked. And one of the things being sugar free gummy bears. And this led to all of us diving down a rabbit hole where we found this insane review that we ended up reading during the lunch break for the Yankee swap, and now I must share it with you guys. All right, so first off, it's titled "See You in Hell: Haribo Sugar-Free Gummy Bears," and this is on Amazon. All right, so this one was a literal one-star review, which probably should have been lower to be honest. And it was reviewed back in 2015, so it may not be the most recent, but oh my god, it is hilarious. Okay, so here it is. This one was reviewed by Luke. It was my last class of the semester, and the final exam was worth 30% of our grade. After a late night study session, I felt confident, but I had to decide between sleeping in or cooking breakfast. My eyelids chose sleep, and my stomach later regretted this decision, and after several uncomfortable stomach growls, I finally decided to make a quick stop by the campus bookstore and grab a snack before my test. Since the semester was ending and everyone was going home for the summer, a lot of items were on sale, including the snacks and candy that kept up front. Being in the hunger state I was in, I had felt only logical to pick the largest yet least expensive candy in order to get more bang for my buck. And there they sat, 2 bags of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears, buy one get one free. What a deal, I thought naively. I would eat one bag before my test and one bag afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna stop here because depending on how big these bags were, I mean, we got a pretty big bag of sugar-free gummy bears at work. And I would say if this guy was getting the same amount that we had gotten, it would be too much in the case. And I never like to say there's such thing as too much candy, but in this case, there might be. But he was hungry. He didn't have any food before the night before, so I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, continuing. As I walked into class, I gleefully chewed on those abominable little bastards, unaware of the utter mayhem they would soon unleash upon my poor anus. I sat down at my desk as the professor informed us that due to issues with cheating in the past, restroom breaks would be prohibited until the completion of the exam. I'll give you 10 minutes to use the restroom now. This will be your last chance. Any takers? The demon bears hadn't released their unholy necromancy upon my stomach yet, so in my moment of ignorant foolishness, I remained seated, still munching on those miniature bear-shaped bombs. After the students wise enough to take the professor's offer had returned, the professor handed out the test. I was 6 questions in when this happened. It started subtly at first, almost like a slight tingling sensation in my lower abdomen. I thought nothing of it, assuming my intestines were just doing their thing. Little did I know that my intestines were trying to desperately to warn me of the horror that was on the horizon. By question 9, it happened again. But this time, it was followed by a sharp pain, as if those infernal hellions had orchestrated an attack upon my colon. And I fought to contain the groan that has tried to escaping my lips, and it was at this point I began to panic. Something was going horribly wrong, and I needed to get through this test before it got any worse. By question 14, my worst fear was upon me. The Satan bear's burning hot, liquidy dark magic crashed against my anal sphincter like a tidal wave. I was able to close the hatch just in time, but those relentless toxic bears beat against it like orcs breaking down the doors of Helm's Deep. Dear God. No, I wouldn't be able to so much as shift in my seat without risking a breach. I kept fighting through the exam, clenching my cheeks with all my might. Beads of sweat began rolling down my neck, and suddenly a loud, gurgling war cry came from my belly, and the entire class lifted their heads. At this point, nothing mattered except expelling this ungodly presence from my bowels. With 15 questions left, I promptly wrote C for every answer and ran out of the classroom. My professor yelled something, but I was too preoccupied with the volcanic eruption that needed to take place before I could find sweet relief. I burst into the restroom like the Kool-Aid man, and behold, the handicap stall was empty. Sun rays from the adjacent window shone upon it as if it were a gift from God himself. And it took me less than point 0.5 seconds to undo my belt buckle, pull down my pants, and finally relax my weird buttocks against upon the toilet seat. Oh God, this is some great storytelling. Just gonna say that. It took absolutely no effort to expel this demon. Almost immediately, the floodgates of hell were opened, and damn, the liquefied souls of my entire bag's worth of gummy bears cried as they burned through my sphincter and into the watery abyss below. I had never felt so much simultaneous relief and anguish in my life. After 30 more minutes of this, I immediately went home, dug a hole in the backyard, and burned the remaining bag of gummy bears. I leave with this. Do not, I repeat, do not eat these spawns of Satan. Not only did they cause me to fail my final test, but the anguish I experienced is something I wouldn't wish upon anyone, not even my worst enemy. The only place these godforsaken hellbears belong are buried deep below the Earth's surface. Wow. And you know how many people found this helpful on Amazon? If you want to guess before I say it, I would love to see the comments after this, but I'm going to tell you. Almost over 29,000 people found this helpful. So I can only imagine how bad it must have been. Even though I know a lot of it's about a 4.6 out of 5 stars on Amazon for this, but I want to say there should have been more 1-star reviews. There's still like a good amount spread out between the other stars, but man, this one was something else. I think we're all just cracking up like just reading this. So if you ever get a chance to, I will link it, and I will link it on from Reddit as well because there are a ton of hilarious comments on there. So also we're just gonna take a quick break. I will be right back. Hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry about that. Just had to take a quick pause to have a late dinner. So let's get back into it and continue on. But yeah, that story from Reddit, seriously unhinged. Absolutely love it, and I hope to find more stories like that so I can share it with you guys. But yeah, let's get back into the whole episode. All right, so we're going to take a mental health moment. So, now I want to take a moment to talk about something personal, navigating insecurities. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everybody secretly disliked you? I felt that way for as long as I can remember. And it's like this constant background noise in my mind, and today I want to share how it shaped me. Growing up, I often felt pretty invisible, and I'd try to speak up in groups of friends. But when people didn't respond the way I'd hoped, I assumed it was because they didn't like me. And one memory stands out. My class was picking teams for a game, and I was the last one picked. It wasn't unusual, but the moment stuck with me, and I internalized it as proof that I wasn't wanted, even though it was just a game. And as I grew older, those feelings didn't just go away. In group chats, I'd notice when people didn't respond to my messages, and my mind would spiral, and I'd start thinking, am I boring? Do they even want me here? And at work, I'd overthink every interaction, convince my coworkers preferred anyone but me. It's exhausting carrying the weight, but I've learned some of the ways to cope, like reframing my thoughts. A while back, especially during the times where I think I was a lot less social. I wasn't used to opening up to people. I was more introverted. I'm a little more extroverted now. I'm not quite as introverted, but I did go through behavioral therapy and I still use those practices to this day. And for this instance, I try and reframe my thoughts and how I approach certain situations. So when it comes to it, I usually try and like go over it if I'm overthinking something. And I think, is there any evidence that this is like, this is true, like that they don't want me here? Have they actually explicitly said it? Or is just my insecurity talking? I try and kind of break down the situation in my mind that, all right, let's go over the facts. Like nobody has said it explicitly and maybe they missed something. And I focus on my circle of people. So a big part of my life is definitely family, and I definitely have the a close knit group of friends as well. And it may not be the biggest group of friends. I do love making friends, but from what I've learned, I've poured into the relationships I have nurtured it to grow. Especially with friends I've been with friends with forever, new friends, and just like I've tried to pour in everything I have and everything that I want for that friendship and just that support I have for the friends. And I found that this makes it a lot better than if I said had like a group of like 30 or 40 friends, like a big group. I've been in the past where I thought, oh, I need to have a lot of friends. I need to have a lot of people around me because what if, I just need all those friends? But you never really need that many people. If you have meaningful relationships in your life, even if it is a small group, it's feels valued to you and, you're not just trying to get approval from others. You know, it's definitely you feel better because you have those amazing group of friends. You have those people that value you in your life that, you're not just trying to get approval from them. You're trying to, be their friend, be supportive of one another and care for one another and support each other, just like how my family has for me and what I do for them. And I've definitely practiced more self compassion in the past few years. So I remind myself that being liked by everyone isn't realistic and it doesn't define me or my worth as a person. And I definitely have to remind myself these in moments where I spiral or I'm at a very low point because I get to parts where, say, it's one issue and then it spirals down into, well, and what am I worth as a person? Like, am I worth anything? And it's like, am I really, that it's like, am I really, sorry, I'm tripping up on my words, like what makes me me and I enjoy my company even when I do have those low points. It's like I do at the end of the day enjoy the person that I've become. I have flaws here and there. I understand that part. So, nothing's perfect. But if you've ever felt like you're not enough or you're not anyone's first choice, I want you to know that you're not alone. These feelings don't have control over your life and you're worthy of love and belonging just as you are. And if nobody's told you this today, you are amazing. We're all works in progress, and that's totally fine. I think we'll always be like that for the rest of our life, but that makes life more interesting that way. And I love you all. I hope that you're all, enjoying the holiday season and don't be so hard on yourself because we're our own worst critics at the end of the day. All right, so let's wrap up by talking about giving back this holiday season. One of the most powerful lessons in A Christmas Carol is how small acts of kindness can make a huge difference. Whether it's donating to a food bank or volunteering or even just checking in on somebody who's lonely, this time of year is a great reminder to look out for each other. And if you're not sure where to start, look for local charities or community events. They're always in need of extra hands. All right, well, that's it for today's episode. A very Merry Corvids Christmas. Thank you for spending time with me during this holiday season. And don't forget to follow the Corvids and Coffee podcast for more cozy conversations. And let me know, what's your favorite A Christmas Carol adaptation and how do you give back during the holidays? As always, stay tuned for more episodes and remember to spread kindness this season. Happy holidays, everyone.